Johnza, and welcome back to another episode of Sawcasters. And in our last episode, we were talking about Pokemon Legends of Arceus, which is a very good game, and I definitely go into more details on why it's a good game and why I find it interesting. So if you haven't checked that podcast out, go check it out, because got good things to say about it. But we're not going to be talking about Pokemon Legends of Arceus in this podcast. We are going to be talking about fnaf Security Breach, which is definitely a more recent game as well. I mean, it came out just before the end of 2021, and I would have to say it's a very interesting game. I kind of up and down and know if it's a good game or not, especially since I haven't actually played it. I've only watched people play it. But like, there are some definitely interesting details to go over about Security Breach. Some people enjoy it, obviously, because they're big FNAF fans, like myself. I myself find myself being a big FNAF fan. Obviously, I'm not in any Discord with any FNAF fans like that, but, you know, like, FNAF has really, like, been a big thing that's happened over the years. Like, I think when I first started really liking FNAF, I'm pretty sure it was, like, around 2014, which, obviously, I'm pretty sure that's when the first game came out, I think. I don't know. But I do know Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was... I think it was Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was already out when I was looking through some videos of FNAF. And it was actually the first time I actually started watching Markiplier, too. Like, the first Markiplier Let's Play I watched was Five Nights at Freddy's, which is definitely very fitting, how I got introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's. Funny enough, the first time the first time I even experienced Five Nights at Freddy's, I actually played it myself. And back then, I wasn't really a big fan of horror games, but, I have to say an ex-friend of mine, I say ex because I don't really talk to them anymore, honestly, and to be fair, I don't really like them as much anymore, so I'll just say that much. Don't want to go into more details, but they pulled out Five Nights at Freddy's, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at the time, and I was like scared and stuff playing through the game. I was like, oh, I don't want to play this. I'm scared. But yeah, I think it was like about a couple weeks later or something. I saw something on. I was just scrolling through YouTube, I think late at night, and I noticed. I think it was like a creepy face of Bonnie as well. I was like, hey, wait a minute. That looks like that one game I played recently. And then I kind of started investigating a little bit because it caught my eye. And then I guess I started like watching some people's Let's Plays on it. I guess it was also around the time where I actually started watching people Let's Play stuff a lot. Yeah, it was interesting. And then I started watching Markiplier play Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was just waiting for the jump scares to happen because I was jumpy at the time. I was like, oh god, it happened. But yeah, but I've definitely enjoyed watching people play over these games. Obviously, I didn't have them myself because, well, for starters, I didn't really have any good computers to play them on at the time, so I couldn't really play them as much. The only game I've actually only completed is Five Nights at Freddy's 1. I've actually have played the game on my iPad before, and I've actually made it through 2020 mode, going through there. It was definitely hard to do, but I won due to a little glitch where Foxy kind of comes in and, like, your game doesn't end right there. Like, he just kind of comes in and he's like, ah, and, like, your power's just, like, going down very slowly as well, so that kind of helped me win the game, which, you know, I guess it's not really accomplishing anything if you just won just by a glitch, but hey, I won. I won 2020 mode, it's fine. I think I only went through a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I don't think I've passed through the second night in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and I haven't even touched Five Nights at Freddy's 4, or even played Sister Location or anything like that. I have played Help Wanted before, since I have a VR headset, but, like, you know, that even scary. But yeah, going into Security Breach, I just want to point out its file size I'm pretty sure it was like 80 gigabytes or something. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? But yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's like a first-person like big exploration game, but still, that's like a lot. That's like a lot of gigabytes specifically for that, especially for a game that's a lot buggy as well. It is definitely a big buggy game. A lot of glitches happen at times. Um, if you guys watch like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye play through the game themselves, you can tell that some points are glitchy at times, or just like anyone's Let's Play in general, which can be frustrating at times. Which you know, um, I do kind of like how there's a save state as well. I will say, I feel like I keep saying, I don't even remember what I just said. But I will say that was the word I was thinking of. Um, but going into with save, I can't talk. I kind of like that there's save states in there a little bit. Uh, and the fact that it's an open world experience as well, which is definitely different from what Five Nights at Freddy's was at the beginning, where you're normally just sitting at a certain place and just trying to survive a little bit. You're not roaming around like collecting items or anything like that. I mean, Help Wanted you were kind of like that, but you were still staying in one place trying to survive. But you kind of went to these different locations and tried to collect some stuff by doing some small stuff. And yeah, there's definitely like nice little hidden lores about like the previous games as well. Like I know there's been a few posters of the toy animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I think there was something with Cupcake being displayed and stuff, which very very interesting. I kind of also like the factor where with Freddy, he's not the one that's after you. Funny enough, he's like the one friendly animatronic who can still somewhat kill you as well. And I say this because there's only two ways Freddy would kill you. One, if he runs out of power while you're in him, and number two, if you bring him to parts and service and try to upgrade him. If you mess up on the upgrade, he will kill you within the stall. So there's that. Which it's very interesting where you get to also sneak around the entire Pizzaplex and try to find a way out of the Pizzaplex and not get caught by the other animatronics who want to get you as well somehow, which I think was mostly due to Vanny's corruption or something. Which, yeah. I also have heard like a lot of. I think there was some details saying that Vanessa, who's the night guard of the game, was the original playtester of fnaf ER, and the fact that Glitchtrap has like corrupted her as well to become Vanny, which is very interesting. And funny enough, there's also a little reference to that too. When you try to do the Princess Quest ending, because there's also multiple endings, which is a very interesting thing about the game too, having multiple endings. But I will say this: at the end of the third Princess Quest game you play, it shows the door that you see in Help Wanted, where Glitchtrap's on the other side, and like you open the door in Princess Quest, and then like it just shows that Vanny's kind of gone, and it kind of shows that Vanessa's been like freed from Glitchtrap, which is very interesting because I think it's the fact that Glitchtrap has like possessed Vanessa in that sort of state. But there was one ending that was definitely confusing, which it could be like a ghost, could be a twin sister or something. But like at the end, it kind of or in one of the endings where I guess Freddy pushes Vanny off a building. Gregory, who is a child, takes Vanny's mask off, and it reveals to be Vanessa. But then after the little credits play out, it shows another little comic scene with Vanessa in her nightgown or outfit or night guard outfit on top of the building where they just were, as the Pizzaplex is already on fire. which definitely raises some questions. Like, is that the ghost of her? Is it twin sister or something? Which is very interesting because it never really showed. But obviously, like with Five Nights at Freddy's, they always like to add in the lore and all that. Even though Scott Cawthon's not really a part of Five Nights at Freddy's anymore, he's retired. Which, would make sense because, like, you could only make so many FNAF games. Like, hell, I mean, there was a point where we thought that FNAF 4 would be the last FNAF game, and then little did we knew that he made FNAF World, which I still find FNAF World to be a fun game. I know a lot of people don't, but I like FNAF World. I normally like to go back to it time and time again. I think it's fun, a little adventure RPG game. Um, yeah, then the next thing you know, there was Sister Location that came out, and then after that, there was Help Wanted. I think it was no, it wasn't Help Wanted. It was Pizza Simulator, right? Which oh yeah, there was a little Five Nights at Freddy's 6, which Five Nights at Freddy's 6 is simulator, by the way. Um, there is an interesting Easter egg there as well, where if you kind of like really travel deep underground, there's like another ending once you get because like in the game you kind of take apart some of the other animatronics, like you take Chica's beak, Roxy's eyes, and Monty's claws. And once you have all those with Freddy, you can unlock a certain area where you pretty much find the FNAF 6 location, which is Pizza Simulator, which is very interesting. And then you get introduced to the Blob and Burn Trap, which Burn Trap was originally Scrap Trap for FNAF 6, and Scrap Trap was originally Spring Trap, who Spring Trap was originally Purple Guy, which was William Afton. So, he keeps changing his name sometimes. Who knows why he does it? But yeah, he tries to control Freddy in that type of ending, but it does make sense why he's there, because he got burnt down. Because the canon ending in FNAF 6 was the fact that Scrap Trap, Lefty, who is the puppet, Scrap Baby, and Molten Freddy, which I think that's entered, I'm pretty sure, they all burned down in the FNAF 6 location, which got burned to the ground, which apparently went underground. And yeah, I feel like most of them turned into the Blob, probably, which the Blob I feel like is a mixture of all the other old animatronics altogether, which is interesting. But yeah, kind of going back to FNAF Security Breach, there are definitely like a lot of bugs in the game, I will admit that. I think there's one as well with I think whether there's a room where it's a level 10 access, but if you bring Freddy close to the door, it opens, and there's no room in there. But if you kind of look into the non-existent room a little bit, you can kind of see Freddy T-posing in there. Like there's another Freddy in there just T-posing. So, another interesting factor about that. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of bugs. I think another like bullshit thing that probably happens in the game is that when you get spotted, I think the animatronic, like whatever animatronic's near the area, I think they try to spawn right on you, which I kind of feel is a little bullshit, especially when you're trying to look around for them, because I've noticed in some Let's Plays that they were trying to look around and see where the animatronic was, and then they just get instantly killed from that animatronic. So, a little bullshit moment there that happened. And, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there's the non-savable actions afterwards, because, like I said, there are save states, but once you, like, exit, or, like, once you get to 6 a.m., and you decide to stay and figure out and get, like, different endings in the in FNAF Security Breach, the save status places are like offline, so you can't save after that point, which is definitely like. I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, why? Because if you die at any point, you have to go back at that specific point again, and do all the other stuff you've done. Which, if you haven't done a lot in the game already, and you've already did a lot during the time after 6 a.m., you'd have to redo all of that again, which is annoying. So if anything, if you are playing the game, I recommend do everything that you can uh, before you put in Roxy's eyes with Freddy, and then do the thing, so you don't have to go back and do all that again. Or there's another thing, which is another glitch, but some stuff reload in for some reason, as if you never really like activated it in the first place. And there's a specific point where you obtain the racer head. It goes back to like 515, which at that point, like, you still have all the other stuff like available. Like, you can leave, you can go kill Vanny or stay. Those options still. But at that point, when you change it back to 515, just by doing that little head glitch, obviously those stuff are still open, but you can also save again. So if you really do want to like have it a bit of an easy mode, just go over there, grab the head, save, and you're good. Which, very, very interesting that they've made that. Which, it's surprising how buggy it is. It is surprising how buggy it is, especially since they have delayed this game for about 2 years before they released it. It was delayed 2 years. I feel like probably around the end they were really trying to like rush probably the end because they know they've delayed it already for so long and they wanted to get out there. So hell, if it was probably released on its original release plan, it probably would have been way worse. So let's just be happy with what we got. But yeah, it definitely looks like an interesting game. Like I said, I haven't actually played it myself. I've only seen people play it before. But yeah, I kind of like how you could also try to take down the animatronics and pull them apart as well and get their certain upgrades to upgrade Freddy, where you can go to different locations. I think that's interesting as well. I don't know what else to talk about the game. It definitely takes some time to get through everything as well. I kind of like how they also brought back Music Man, like the tiny little Music Man. Uh, Surprisingly, I think that's like a different Music Man than the original because I think the original is way bigger than the small one, which you can see into the vents. So there's all that. Um, I don't know who I think my favorite character would probably have to be Monty. But some of the other characters are pretty alright. Sorry, I just felt like I had to burp there for a second. I don't know why. I was like trying to get the burp out, but I never did. Anyways, but yeah, there's a lot of oh right characters. I just kind of remember the one certain character, which was probably like the most scariest of them all, which is the map bot. I think he only appears like twice, and like some of the like staff bot jump scares you, and then they do an alarm which summons the other animatronics. They don't kill you, and then there's map bot, which you don't expect at all because you don't see them around the area, and then they just yell right in your face, and they're like, "Take a map, take a map." And like they just won't leave you alone until you take their map. Which is like, bro, you just gave me a heart attack just to give me a map? Like, you bastards. The most scariest animatronic. I think Sundrop and Moondrop are also interesting characters. You don't see Sundrop too often in the game, but I think that's a lot of people's favorite animatronic as well, just for how happy he is. He's also not a threatening animatronic as well. It's only his alternate personality because he's just like, hey, a new friend, want to have fun? We can go finger painting and all that. I like the son. I think he's definitely a very interesting character. But of course, when lights goes off, the moon comes out and he tries to kill you. Yeah, and then there's that whole segment of the game where you have to turn on the generators, and then at certain points where you have to get to a recharge center before he comes and gets you before the hour, which, I I kind of like also the factor where you have to recharge Freddy and you can't just stay in him the entire time, or else he'll kill you. I think it makes sense. So like you don't like just hide in Freddy the entire time. Like there'll be points where you have to get out and do other things than hide in Freddy. You can't just hide in Freddy forever. Which you know, and there's a bunch of this stuff where you go around and collect all the stuff and just explore, find another way out. But like the animatronics never go like right to the entrance. So like why doesn't he hide why doesn't Gregory just hide somewhere near the entrance or anything? You just hide out till 6 a.m. and then leave. It's kind of weird that Gregory is also known as homeless. Like we really don't know much about Gregory at all. There's also some rumors saying that he might be an animatronic himself, which is interesting, but who knows? But all we know is that he's homeless. Which is the one thing I'm actually really upset that Jacksepticeye never figured out. Because I'm pretty sure in one of his last episodes, he was questioning why Gregory was in a box and like looked like he was homeless. And I was like, because he is homeless. It was literally mentioned because if you guys also don't remember, well, if you guys have played Security Breach, Vanessa finds Freddy and disassembles him a little bit, and she tells Freddy that that as looking through the records that he has no parents. So like Jack should have been able to remember that and then remember that he was homeless. Well, I won't put everything to granted because well, Jacksepticeye's not like the hugest fan of Five Nights at Freddy's like a lot of the other YouTubers that I know that play Five Nights at Freddy's. But I mean hell, even Markiplier I don't think is the hugest fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, but he does play some Five Nights at Freddy's fan games and all that, and he definitely plays through like most of the games like all the way through at times. I know he didn't make it through 20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night, but I think he did like at least as much as he could. There's that. I think he went for all the endings in FNAF Simulator. He did Scissor Location. He definitely did Final Series 4 and the Halloween update and all that, and of course the other first 3 games. The only official Five Nights at Freddy's game I know Mark hasn't played is FNAF World, which I don't know why. I think I even tried to put it in a comment and try to see if it came up on one of his because I think at the time Markiplier had like a Q&A, a reading your comments series kind of going on, and I think I put that down in one of his videos, but he never got around to it. It was either that or why did he name his dog Chica? Because I was very curious about that because, well, Chica the chicken from FNAF, and then, I kind of also like in Security Breach how, like, they mentioned there was a Bonnie before, but now there's not, which definitely raises the question of what happened to Bonnie. Like, there's been some rumors going around that Monty might have been the one to kill Bonnie or something like that, which is interesting. And like, it's poor Bonnie and Foxy. Like, they're more of my favorite like animatronics in FNAF, and they just get replaced. I mean, no offense to Monty and Roxy. I mean, I think they're okay characters, but miss my boys, Bonnie and Foxy. But yeah, I just miss Bonnie and Foxy in that. But yeah, and like I was saying before, Jack's not like the biggest fan of FNAF at times. I think he even mentioned in his videos that he's like the first 2 games. And I think he was at least interested in FNAF Sister Location as well. But like, I think FNAF 3 and 4 he wasn't really a big fan of, which kind of makes sense because I don't even think he completed all 5 nights in FNAF 3 or 4. In fact, I'm pretty sure in FNAF 4 he only did like 1 episode of that. Funny enough, at least Jacksepticeye has at least done an episode on FNAF World, he's at least done one episode and then go back to it, which obviously he just didn't like it, which makes sense. Surprised that Markiplier never actually got to play FNAF World. Who knows? Maybe he might play it later in the future. We don't know. But yeah, I will say FNAF Security Breach is an interesting game. I won't say it's a good game or a bad game, but it's an interesting game. I will say that. Especially for Mike. I think if I would get FNAF Security Breach at one point, I'd probably have to get a PlayStation 5 myself and then get it that way, because for one, just because of the gigabyte sort of situation, like, if anything, I'll probably have to get like a physical copy of the game if I want to save like space and all that, because the download is like 80 gigabytes. And number two, if I try to download it on my laptop, ooh, there's the gas. The burp kind of came out. Anyways, my computer would probably fry to run the game. I'll just say that much. Because, hell, even some people just booting up the game had some laggy features, and it was kind of destroying their computer a little bit, so it was like, oh god. So yeah, especially with my computer would be destroyed. My laptop sucks. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely still useful for editing and exporting videos and stuff, and for uploading videos onto YouTube, obviously. But like, when I try to play games on it, it's not the best. Like, I can play Among Us, but I can't do Gmod. Gmod I can't do. It just lags so much with Gmod, and it's like, oh god, why? Like, I would need to get like a better laptop just for gaming stuff in general. I probably would still keep this old one just for like video purposes, unless I could get video pad over on my other laptop, but you would have to see, you know. But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about FNAF Security Breach. It's a very interesting game, somewhat buggy. Some people hate it, some people love it. Fun references from previous games and the lore and everything. And, you know, still today, I'm still a big fan of FNAF. Oh yeah, I haven't even gone into the freaking FNAF Security Breach memes. I feel like probably my most favorite one was the Among Us meme of that. Because funny enough, the actual voice actor that did Freddy in Security Breach actually like had a recording of himself saying those lines for Gregory. It was like, Gregory, do you see that small vent on the floor? Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory? You need to vent. I know it will be hard for you to be sus, but I know you can do it, Gregory. I will just say we were both in security watching the cameras. It is partially true. And I am not joking when I say that he actually said those lines. He actually said it out loud, and it's on the internet right now. That's probably one of my most favorite ones. There's also Fastballs as well, which it shows like Gregory getting a flashlight. Freddy's like, what else can it do? And then Gregory just sticks the flashlight, puts it near Freddy's balls, and Freddy's like, oh, my Fastballs! That one's definitely a funny one too. And I'd probably say my next favorite FNAF meme of Security Breach is probably when it's right at the point when Freddy gets Roxy's eyes, and so it kind of plays a little bit into the scene a little bit. Freddy goes like, I can see movement through the walls. And Gregory's like, really? I didn't know Roxy can see through walls. And it shows back to Freddy with a very, like, sussy look, and he's like, it just has, like, the music of, da-na-na-na-na. And he's like, you did what now? Like, what do you mean these are Roxy's eyes? Sounded a little sus there, Gregory. I mean, I told you to be sus, but not this kind of sus. I just wanted you to vent. The FNAF memes and stuff. Like, there's the actual FNAF games where there's scary parts. Apparently also, like, even look through the game, I'll have to say that It's not as scary as the other Five Nights at Freddy's games. I will say that much. Just kind of looking through it, it's not as scary as how the old FNAF games were. I will also point that out. Yeah, what was I gonna say before that? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what I was gonna say. I know I was talking about FNAF memes and Among Us. Yeah, I can't remember. It's also interesting that they changed Chica's color as well, which, funny enough, Glamrock Chica almost seems like Funtime Chica in a way. I think those two Chicas are somewhat similar at least, which, Funtime Chica was not around until, like, FNAF 6, but, But, yeah, I kind of like, it's kind of weird to see Chica as a different color than yellow, Because that's how Chica's mostly known for, is being yellow and all that. I've kind of noticed that when people have put mods and have Glamrock Bonnie and Glamrock Foxy, and they're still their same colors, so, Interesting stuff, Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to talk about with FNAF, or at least FNAF Security Breach. Like I said, interesting game. Somewhat good, somewhat bad. Has glitchy moments, has all that lore and stuff. But, yeah. And I guess with that, we'll end things here. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for coming by, watching the podcast. If you guys like this podcast, press the like button or subscribe to whatever. And I'll see you dudes next week for another podcast. See you dudes next time.